So, welcome students. We are moving to welcome today, my students. We are moving to lesson 6, and we are going to look at comparison, contrast, paragraphs. We are going to look at comparison, contrast, paragraphs. That is, we are going to look at how you can write a paragraph which is comparing and contrasting, meaning showing similarities as well as showing the differences between two things. So here could be two places, two issues, two people, and what have you. So here we have in mind two things that we are comparing and contrasting. So in this lesson, you will learn about comparison, contrast paragraphs, and reasons why we write this type of paragraphs. That is why we write them. Then we are going also to look at how to organize comparison and contrast paragraphs. How to organize. We want to see the organization, because this development may not be the same as the ones we have seen previously. So we want exactly to know how to organize your points, how to organize your reasons, your communication in as far as comparison and contrast paragraphs are concerned. Then number 3, we are going to look at connecting words used for comparing and contrasting a topic. So how do we connect the words used for comparing and contrasting such a paragraph? So now the 4th area that we shall handle is how to write about the advantages and disadvantages of a topic. Advantages and disadvantages of a topic, of something, of what you are writing about. So let us start. Paragraphs that compare and contrast. To compare means to discuss how two people, places, or things are similar. That is what we call to compare. To compare is just looking at the similarities between people, between places, between things. That is what we call comparing. So, like for example, you can say both teachers and students need to spend a lot of time preparing for classes. So what is similarity between teachers and students? The similarity is this. Your teacher, before he comes to teach, he must prepare a lesson plan. And this lesson plan has been derived from schemes of work. Schemes of work which is coming from course outline which is coming from curriculum about that course. So both of them have to do something. It will look a bit obnoxious. You come to class as a teacher and you are not prepared. You don't know where to start. You don't know how to develop your lesson, how even to conclude. And as a student, you have to read ahead of the teacher so that when you come to class, when your teacher comes in, you are slightly ahead of the teacher, meaning you are prepared for that lesson. So both of you have one thing in common, which we are now calling preparation. To contrast means to discuss how two people, places, or things are different. So here we are trying to look, because as much as things may have some characteristics in common, but the reality is that there will be some differences between between these particular two peoples or two areas. So one main advantage of a bike, for example, one main advantage of a bicycle over a car is that a bicycle doesn't create any pollution. So here we are comparing bicycle and a car, and we are looking at their relationship with the environment. We are looking at their relationship with the environment. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, fine. So we are looking at the difference between a bicycle over a car. And while we are looking at this, we are trying to establish the difference between the two in relation to the environment. So you'll find when we use a bicycle, we are not polluting environment in any way. But whenever we use a car, there is air pollution, and therefore our environment is polluted. So that is the difference between the two. Now, let us now look at comparative and contrastive structures. You see, when we are comparing two things, we must use what we call comparative structures. The way we have been seeing how we've been developing other paragraphs, there are paragraphs we've been using adjectives, prepositions, modular auxiliary verbs, transitional words, and what have you. So here, when we are using comparative structures, meaning those phrases and words that can help you to do the comparison. These words and phrases are used for writing comparison. And we use and to show comparison. Yes, we know and is a conjunction, and it serves various and different functions originally, and basically we know and is to bring about addition. But we are now looking at and here as a comparative structure, in that you can say the man and the woman are tall. So what is similar between the man and the woman is the tallness. So you've said the man and the woman are tall. Yes. Number two, we use both to show comparison. So we can say both of the tables have broken legs. Both of the tables have broken legs. We also use both and. You see, using both dash dash and to show comparison. So we can say both my neighbor and I are selling our cars. Both my neighbor and we are selling our cars. So what is common between two of us is selling our cars. Then we also use also. So I'm saying we also use also. Now, how do we use also to show comparison or similarities? You can say the shops are closing for the bank holiday, full stop. And you say the post office is also closing. Look at that. The shops are closing for the bank holiday. The post office is also closing. So what is common between the two is closing. But you have to know whenever we are using also, as a conjunction, we use it on different bases. It is used to show addition also. But here we are using it as a comparative structure. There is two. We are aware that when we are using two, it also shows also. Like when you tell somebody, I'm hungry, then he says, I too. It's like saying, I also. But here we are using, but you see, when you say that, it means there is similarity between the two of you. Hunger. Yes. So you can say, Kathy is planning to go to the party and I am too. So it means both of you are planning to go for a party. Let us look at comparative structure number 6, neither. And my students, whenever we are using neither, it comes along with nor. So you use both of them. So it is neither nor. Therefore, you can say, neither Joe nor Steve went to the meeting last night. Neither Joe nor Steve went to the meeting last night. So what is common in the two between Joe and Steve is that they didn't go to the meeting. So that is what is similar between the two. Comparative structure number 7, similar to. So you can say their new computer is similar to the one my brother bought. Their new computer is similar to the one my brother bought. Similar to. Comparative structure number 8, the same as. You know, we can use the same as. So you can say in a sentence, is the restaurant where you had dinner the same as the place where I ate last month? Is the restaurant where you had dinner the same as the place where I ate last month? Comparative structure number 9. Just as plus adjective plus as. Just as plus adjective plus another as. So how do you use this? You use it this way. His coat is just as warm as the more expensive one. His coat is just as warm as the more expensive one. Number 10, likewise. You see, you can wish your friend best of luck. You can say, oh, you are going to do your exam, or you are sitting for your exam. Yes, I wish you success. And he would say, likewise. Maybe both of you are going for exam and you are wishing your friend, so he's also wishing you. So what is common and similar between two of you is wishing each other success. So what are we saying? My parents were born in a small village. Likewise, my brothers and I also grew up in a small town. Number 11, similarly. There are many parks to visit in that city. Similarly, there are several parks in my hometown. There are many parks to visit in that city. Similarly, there are several parks in my hometown. Yes. So we are through with comparative structures. Let us move to contrastive structures, meaning words or phrases that we can use when we are showing differences between two people, two places, two things, etc. Yes. Okay. These words and phrases are used for writing contrasts. Let us start with number one. More, less, plus adjective or adverb plus than. So we can say, eating out is usually more expensive than cooking at home. More expensive than cooking at home. So when we look at the two, they are different in terms of expenses, in terms of cost. So one is more expensive than the other, and therefore the other is less expensive than the other. That's how you have to understand. More and less. Number two, we can use adjective plus er plus than. So how do you do this? Comparatively, you can say my bedroom is bigger than my sister's room. And therefore you can also say my sister's room is smaller than my bedroom. Look at that. Number three, we can use but, while, though, those three. So you can say, I enjoy eating fruit for dessert, but my friend likes chocolate. That's using but. Or you can say, I enjoy eating fruit for dessert, while my friend likes chocolate. Or you can say, I enjoy eating fruit for dessert, though my friend likes chocolate. So the difference between two of you is that you like fruit, your friend likes chocolate. Number four, not the same as, not the same as. So we can say in a sentence, this book isn't same as the one you bought, meaning they are not the same. Number five, not as, dash, dash, as. Let us see how we use it in a sentence. Some people feel that doing exercise isn't as fun as watching TV. Some people feel that doing exercise isn't as fun as watching TV. So that's the difference between these two groups of people. Number six, different from. So in a sentence, we can say, that style of shirt is different from the styles most people wear. That style of shirt is different from the styles most people wear. Number seven, in contrast. In contrast, you can say the lakes we swam in were very clean and beautiful. In contrast, the lakes in my country are polluted. Number eight, however. The new shop sells its clothing at low prices. However, other shops have better quality clothing. The new shop sells its clothing at low prices. However, other shops have better quality clothing. Number 9. On the other hand, my boyfriend likes doing sports. On the other hand, I prefer doing yoga. Yoga, just do like this. No. It's not that vigorous. You just do like that, and you just feel good. That's yoga. That's yoga, my friends. That's yoga. Yes. Now, let us move to comparison and contrast organization. So there are two methods of doing comparison and contrast paragraph, how you develop it. So method 1 is what we call block organization. Block organization. So when we are using block organization, you first of all write about supporting points for the first topic, meaning you have two topics, or you have two people, or you have two whatever things. So first, just write about supporting points for the first topic. Then compare or contrast those same points to the second topic. This type of organization could be outlined like this. Let us look at it. So what we are saying is, you come up with a topic sentence. And in this topic sentence, you say maybe this is comparison and contrast between A and B. After introducing that way, then move to points of comparison, contrast about topic A. Yeah, so talk about topic A. Talk about good things about topic A. Talk about bad things about topic A. Exhaust it, finish, complete. Then now, go to topic B or person B and just talk about what is comparison and contrast about B. After you finish, then come up with a concluding sentence. Conclude about that. So I want to come again in an elaborative way. What we are saying here is that if you are comparing Mr. Musa and Mr. Hassan, first of all, when you are introducing the paragraph, your topic sentence should be, this is the comparison and contrast between Musa and Hassan. That's your topic sentence. So in your topic sentence, we know that the main idea of your paragraph is comparison and contrast. So it means your paragraph is going to talk about comparison and contrast. Then now, talk about Musa. Talk about the good side of Musa and the bad side of Musa. After you finish, go to Hassan. Do the same. Then make your conclusion. Yeah? Come up with your conclusion. Meaning, you have exhausted the first topic or the first person, then after which you come and talk about the second person. So whoever is reading your paragraph can read first about Musa, then next will read about Hassan, and the person can be able to tell the similarities and the differences between the two. The second method, we call it point-by-point method. We call it point-by-point organization, meaning you organize the paragraph in point by point. So how do you do this? Compare or contrast one point about the two topics, then a second point, then third, and so on. So here we are talking about, come up with a topic sentence, comparing or contrasting two topics. Then move to first point of comparison and contrast. Compare the two, contrast the two. Let me come again. Let me continue with Musa and Hassan. So Musa is tall, Hassan is tall. So you say both Musa and Hassan are tall. Yes. But you find Musa is dark, Hassan is brown. So you would say, but Musa is dark and Hassan is brown in color. So you see, in that one sentence, you have compared the two. Then in the next sentence, you have contrasted the two in terms of color. Then when you come to education, you say Musa and Hassan hold a certificate. Then you go to another point, which is differentiating them. Musa is married, but Hassan is not married. So you can see how you are comparing on one aspect, the two, and you move to the next aspect like that until you come to the end and you draw your conclusion. So let us move to advantages and disadvantages. So it's writing about advantages and disadvantages is another way to compare and contrast. Because when you talk about advantages, you are talking about positive points. And when you talk about disadvantages, you are talking about negative points of a topic. So if you are writing about one topic, it is usually best to discuss advantages and disadvantages in two separate paragraphs. Now, the advice here is when you are talking about advantages and disadvantages, then try to separate the paragraphs. Meaning paragraph 1, you can talk about advantages. Paragraph 2, you talk about disadvantages. If you are comparing or contrasting two topics, you could organize the paragraph in either point by point or block style. That's the advice here. So when we are writing about comparison and contrast paragraphs, we can use two methods, the block method and the point by point method. So I have said the block method is where you exhaust one aspect before moving to the next aspect. But when it comes to point by point, if you are comparing, you compare the two topics, places, or people before moving to another point, So when you are reading what somebody has written, especially when you are doing peer editing, you can be able to say that this is point by point a comparison and contrast paragraph, or it is developed using a block method. So this is what we are supposed to understand. It's not just writing anything. No, you have to understand the tools you need to develop a given type of a paragraph. For our case today, what I can say is that you have to understand these comparative structures and contrastive structures because they are very important. And when you are constructing sentences at this level, our assumption is you've been taught communicative grammar, and therefore your construction of sentences is above. You are good, you understand what you are doing, and therefore when you are writing such, you have to make sure that you are using the correct tools, correct structures, so that your paragraph is perfect. After all, we are writing to communicate through written. And you see, if your purpose and your objective is to communicate, then use the correct tools, use the correct words, and therefore you'll be able to communicate your idea, your message to your audience, to your readers very easily. So thank you very much for today, for listening to me, and I would request that if you like my lessons, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Philemon Today. Follow me up, support me by suggestions, support me by your comments, encourage me, and where you see that I've not really given you what you needed, or maybe I've done it wrongly, I will rely very much from your feedback to be able to enhance myself and reach to a higher level whereby I'll be very useful to English learners. Otherwise, thank you very much for today.